Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Yes, this is part 4 of the series of the Anne-Marie Trevelyan Out of Her Depth, where we're still on the same question where they're asking, will they be allowed to have the scrutiny, the proper scrutiny that they need, so we can get these fantastic new trade deals that we were promised during the Brexit referendum, and everybody's queuing up to give us these fantastic deals. Well, this is still on the same question, and this is Mark Garnier still trying to get a straight answer out of Anne-Marie Trevelyan. It's like pulling teeth. Painful.
I'm just wondering whether there might be a little bit of misunderstanding about the processes. But
I think so.
Sort of clear it up. And one of my great regrets is not being in the Whip's office, so I don't necessarily understand fully how the legislative process works. But I just want to get to the bottom of this. The spanner in the works seems to be the enabling legislation that is to make certain bits of the trade deal happen. So there's nothing to do with ratifying the trade deal.
No,
just to get
the system is in place for that.
Brilliant. So if that wasn't there, then you would be entirely 100% in control of the process, and therefore you'd be happy, I guess, to give us 15 days or 30 days or whatever you can, which is great. So that's positive working with us. What I am trying to get my head around is what leans on what. So does CRAG have to be triggered in order for the enabling legislation to then go through, or does the enabling legislation have to be moved before CRAG can be triggered? And that's what I'm slightly confused about. And I think it's quite an important point, because if CRAG has to be triggered and completed before the enabling legislation goes through, then then the business managers, if they put it through as the first bill of the new session, then you've got to crack on immediately. I mean, you've got to...
With CRAG.
Yeah. So have I got that right, that CRAG has to have been triggered and completed before the enabling legislation can then be pass through Parliament?
Yes.
It's like the blind leading the blind, innit? I don't think. If he's confused, I'm not surprised, because Anne-Marie Trevelyan doesn't know her ass from her elbow.
The CRAG is, set in stone, if that's the right way to describe it. And obviously that will, that is the process that has to go through. So that's why, because we want to be getting on with it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But I will absolutely. I'm very comfortable and writing as Mr. Russell has said, so that we can try and land that. What I don't know is those who are drafting it where they want to put us in the schedule.
No, exactly right. So your problem is you're held hostage to the business managers of the House.
In the nicest possible way, yes.
Yeah. We are. But there's an interesting point with this, is that the business manager could schedule it,
yes.
and then we scupper CRAG. So then the House then can, in theory, can
there's a thought, yes. I'm
there is a thought.
hoping there's enough good in this that's your intention is not to bring down the treaty.
CRAG only delays it by 21 days.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring down the treaty.
No, indeed. But so I think, but so that's, and also this is partly, which is why I don't want to commit something that I simply am not in control of, because this is the first time we're doing this.
Don't think you're in control of anything, do you? God.
Precisely. So let's do that, and hope that this is. I think bluntly, this is a learning process for all parts of this system, because this is the first time that we're doing this.
Thank you very much.
Not what we were told during the referendum. Sunny uplands, golden unicorns, and will be this dusky fair maid and swanning off onto the seven seas and making trade deals that will give us cheap shoes for peasants and whatnot.
So, presumably, if we need the 3 weeks for the CRAG process, then the business managers know that actually we can't be the first bill laid in the new session, because obviously it needs to be at least a month in.
There is this clock.
What further advice have you given us to how much further beyond 3 weeks into the session?
Now, before I forget, I didn't quite catch the name of this guy, so if you know, leave a message in the comment section below. Cheers, be much appreciated.
Sorry, what? Didn't cut out what?
To the business managers, what advice have you given us to how much further than 3 weeks into the new session would be the very earliest that this legislation could be brought forward.
So we haven't, I haven't had, I don't know if, I'm looking around, if any of the clerks' teams have had those deep conversations. I'm not aware of them, but I can find out. But, you know, those were discussions that we had when we had the PBL discussions earlier in the year, asking to be able to bring this forwards, you know, that we talked around, you know, clearly these issues that we had. And again, as I say, because this is the first time we're doing this, we're all working together to try and get there. So I think, you know, the best way forwards, I think it's a very good idea of Mr. Russell-Morris is to write and, you know, restate both your, you know, requirements and timeframes and why that's important, but obviously fitting in within, as you say, the CRAG process, which is already embedded in the system.
So, I mean, obviously appreciating that officials are working to complete the Section 42 report as quickly as possible, have they been given any hard deadline that would be necessary in order for the business managers to have the freedom that they need? I haven't set a formal
deadline. I have indicated clearly that pace is important in order to ensure that, you know, it being, as we are describing, one, you know, another really important peg in the journey.
More and more I watch this, I think it's come to a point now where I just think she's trolling them. She's just taking their eyes. This is still on the same question that was over nearly half an hour ago. Painful.
But it obviously means that the business managers, if they were planning on a second reading of your implementing legislation in early June, wouldn't there be a danger that the Section 42 report may not be completed in time for when you'd need to be triggering CRAG if you don't have that kind of deadline?
So your point is well made, which is why, as I say, at this point...
When they say your point is well made, I usually think, I've not got a clue what you're on about.
I cannot give precision, but, you know, every part of the machine is working at pace. So let's you know, I'm happy to write, and I'm sure, Chair, you will write to the authorities as well, and, you know, reiterate these important timing issues.
Do you have any indication at all as to when, over the next few months, you would expect the CRAG process to take place? So leaving the Section 42 report to one side, leaving aside when you expect the primary legislation, do you have any idea of when you would expect that 3-week CRAG process for the treaty to be laid for ratification?
So, not precisely, but as I say, you know, we want to get the Section 42 report.
Or roughly?
You know, I don't want to commit to something that I can't at this point, because we are doing all these things for the first time, and I want to make sure that we do them thoroughly. I want all those other parts, much like Dr. Bartel said, you know, we have asked, you know, for those scrutiny points, because I think it's really important we do that, and I want to make sure that we try and flow through them as well as we can. And I hope very much, and I know that the department are taking full note of you know, the challenges that you're facing to do scrutiny, that as we do this you know, in a regular fashion in due course, that we will be able to have a system in place which ensures that we can think very clearly about that timetable. But this is very much doing this for the first time, and indeed, you know, because there is some enabling legislation coming in with that programme timetable as well, that we are you know, developing it as we go. So I don't want to commit something to you that I can't meet, because it's outside my control, but let's continue to work together to see if we can help the process be as smooth as it can be.
Okay. I mean, so it's the same government. It looks like you're telling us that the government could land a timetable on a department without the department being ready for that timetable, and that seems a very strange. So I think there's some management to do between government departments and within government there. I understand that the legislation can be laid and passed when the CRAG process is ongoing too. Right. So really, you have the message. It's very clear from here.
Very clear. And we'll write.
It should be your own team.
And this is where it gives... I love what he says here. Brilliant. Wasted half an hour just to get a straight answer out of her.
We're trying here to cross-party, to not make this political, trying to get a timetable of 15 days for the good of scrutiny on these things, as was agreed beforehand. Adequate time. We've been months asking, and now we spent half an hour on this, which is unnecessary, really. But I think the views have been made very clear across at least 3 political parties and probably more. It's not a political issue. We are agreeing on this as a committee, and we're looking for you to sort the House authorities with our support to make sure this is done properly. And now moving on to Mr.
And that I wholeheartedly agree. That was about half an hour just to try and get a straight answer out of Secretary of State for International Trade, Anne-Marie Trevelyan. My God. If this is the person who's dealing with bringing in these fantastic trade deals, we are in trouble. These will be the last ones of this, because unless I think there's still about maybe another hour and 20 minutes. I might watch through it and see if there's any more belters in there. I'll record them. But on this, I'll probably leave this on this question about the International Trade Committee demanding 15 days for scrutiny here, because that was painful, wasn't it? What an idiot she is. But hey, you know what you're voting for. But I shall leave the video here until the next time. I shall bid you farewell and take care.